Hello, everyone. This is Shanka Ponsley with the Shanks Show. I'm trying to go live often for you to teach you anything and everything you need to know about growing your business and being visible online. And yeah, let's get this started. Today, we will talk about online meetings, how to make the most of online meetings. And I am speaking specifically about a Zoom type of conference, or sometimes there are people who use apps such as Hopin or AirMeet. There's lots of different options. You can definitely put your questions in the comments and I can see if I get to those. If you want to be able to really learn a lot about all things online, go check out shanks.club is where I keep everything neatly together. I want to thank you a lot for your time that you spent with me on this live. And I will say that it is really very important for you to give me your questions if you have those. Whenever you organize an online meeting, an online event, it is very powerful to grow the association or grow the organization for which you create the event. I have found that, of course, especially during the pandemic, that is and was the way to go. Now, in-person events are definitely coming back, but at the same time, online meetings will not disappear at all. If anything, meetings will become more and more hybrid, and you will find that your participants will even demand for a hybrid version because they can't always travel or they can't afford to travel, or for whatever reason they have to have a preference for online meetings. I can tell you that organizing online meetings is very powerful marketing and public relations strategy, because what they do is they create community. And with online meetings, we just have this ability to make members of different regions and different origins know each other and interact with each other. And they will just come and feel very empowered and think that they got a lot of value out of the meetings that you organize. Having that as a skill set is really going to boost whatever the goal of your organization or your business is, whether that is a for profit or non profit goal. You will find that your audience nowadays is craving for community, is craving to learn from you, is craving to interact with you. And that is why it is really important to know how online meetings are done. Now, if you have never organized an online meeting, I would say, don't overcomplicate it at the beginning. Just create a Zoom meeting and then, send out the Zoom link and have a conversation together. Especially when the pandemic hit us, I was the president of a Toastmasters club, and all of a sudden we had to do our meetings. We had to shift them from in person to online, and it was just all done through Zoom. You don't even have to upgrade for the webinar feature. You can just use the meeting feature, and with a little bit of rules and framework around how you run your meeting, that should work pretty well. Now, we will address a few things that are really important to make the most of your meetings. Well, first, you have to have a date, and that is important that you select the date not too close you want to allow for enough time, because there's a lot of planning that goes into it. You need to find your content, you need to find your speakers, you need to do an outreach campaign, and you need to make sure that people have time to plan their lives around online meetings. It is important that you understand, if you operate in a certain region or a certain industry, it's important that you understand what other dates are on people's calendars, so that you don't create a conflict with, other events essentially, and you create a situation where people would love to attend but they cannot because they just really want or need to attend the other event that it matters in your ecosystem or in your industry. I am a person, I'm not the best planner for dates, because I don't have to take into consideration vacations, school holidays, and I am not always aware of all the important, I guess, public events that people like to attend to, which is why it is important that when you plan your date, you ask in your network, okay, I'm thinking about doing it on this date. Do you see a problem with that? And if yes, why? So that you can plan around it. So that is very important. The next important part is the title of your online meeting. I see a lot of organizations go for, and we've done that mistake ourselves in the past. They go for a title along the lines of, this is our first quarterly meeting. And that's basically the title, of, let's say we have Shanks Club and they organize an online meeting, and then the title would be first quarterly meeting of the Shanks Club. And while that makes a lot of sense to you in your mind, it is not really very effective in gathering people's attention and interest so that they can join or plan to attend. Instead, you really want to think, what is the attention grabber, that what is the main feature of the meeting? What is in it for people when they attend? That is very important. So, for instance, this is an online meeting right now, right? It is a live stream, and in a sense, it's an online meeting because there can be live viewers. And I could have picked the title to be live stream Shanks on September 22nd, right? And that would not have been very appealing to you all, even to people who come back and watch the recording, because what they see is just, the generic description of what they're looking at. And the title is not descriptive. It doesn't contain what it is that attendees get from that meeting. So trust me, the title of your online meeting is super important, especially when it comes to your marketing and outreach strategy. Very, very important. Once you have that title defined, you want to make sure that you have a place for people to go and RSVP or register / sign up for your online event. You don't have to overcomplicate this. There's different ways of doing it. I really like the Eventbrite platform because it has all the tools built in there for free that allow you to promote your event, to sell tickets, and to make sure that you know who needs to attend and where people should go once the meeting starts. You can also, alternatively to Eventbrite, you can use Meetup, you can use Facebook online event, you can use what else? Just actually, you can create a meeting in Zoom and then there's an option to make registrations required, which generates a sort of landing page, if you will, that you can share with your network where people need to go and register. Again, it's very important that you have the title and then also a good date. And people want to know what to expect. So typically, what you have is a speaker or a topic, a feature presentation, and people want to know what is it that I'm going to learn during that event. So make sure you explain that in a few sentences on that place where people register. Okay, so make it known what is in it for them when they attend. What is also very important is that you have an idea of the agenda for so many reasons. Again, people like to know what to expect when they invest time, but also the agenda is super important for yourself when you organize and plan the meeting. And again, this doesn't need to be overcomplicated, but it would be nice to know, okay, virtual doors open at noon, and then there's time for people to trickle in between noon and a quarter past noon or half an hour past noon. And then there's a welcome address, and then there's the main part of the presentation, and then there's a Q&A. Okay, that is usually how we structure online meetings. And it is very important, again, for the expectation of the attendees so that they know what to expect. Nobody wants to be in the dark. And it is also very important for whoever is the MC, whoever is the guide through the meeting, because that person has a very vital role, welcoming people into the meeting, explaining what your organization or your meeting is about, introducing speakers, making sure that transitions happen smoothly, and also making announcements and all kinds of nuts and bolts of leading a meeting, emceeing a meeting. So have your agenda ready and make sure that is on the registration page as well. It is important to have, of course, a good speaker lined up that is relevant to your target audience, or that your meeting is relevant to your target audience, the feature presentation. I would say that is kind of a given. And then you want to also make sure that there is an opportunity for people to network and interact with each other. So if you do a simple Zoom meeting, that depending on how many attendees you have, that might get a little complicated because it is not very easy for small groups to form and to interact with each other based on their own choosing. Yes, you can create breakout sessions, and an admin can place people into breakout Zoom rooms and then call them back. But during a networking time on their own, that is kind of hard to achieve, which is why it is interesting to maybe consider a meeting software that is not Zoom, but for example, there are two that come to my mind, although there's lots of options, but two that come to my mind are, one is called Hopin. I would say that's probably the industry leader in meeting software. And the other one is that I like to use is called AirMeet. And what they have all in common in some form or fashion is that there is a general entrance space, a lobby, if you will, where then there are meeting rooms that are visually represented by either tables or icons to click on. And then you can have small groups gather together and chat with each other during the networking time or during the pre-main presentation time. That is a very important part of the meeting. That is really what we have found that people look for in online meetings. Then usually when the pre-meeting time is over, there's a feature where you can call the attention of everybody to a main room or a main virtual stage. And then you have your main program that is presented. Now, you have to understand that people will attend because they want to learn, but they also want to somewhat be entertained. So make sure that you think of your meeting as a production. Now, you might not be a media production company, and that's okay, but I am sure you have PowerPoints or pictures or movies that you can blend into your meeting. So especially at the beginning and then at the end and somewhere in the middle, you want to spruce it up a little bit, make it interactive, make it nice to consume. And again, don't overthink it. There's ways to make that super nifty and complex. But if you don't have that skill set, or if you have nobody who can help you with that in that fashion, just show a few pictures or show a PowerPoint that is nicely done, or blend in a video clip. Then it's very important to let people know at the beginning of your presentation, your meeting, that there will be a Q&A, a question and answer time towards the end. That is typically, I have found, where most of the critical value will develop, because you get an insight into your members, into your audience's mind. What you may have presented may not necessarily what is their most urgent, what are their most urgent questions. So during the Q&A, that typically comes out. So don't think of a Q&A as a afterthought, but is really an important part of your event. So definitely make sure you plan that in and you announce it in advance. I typically tell people there is going to be a Q&A at the end, so stay for that. When questions come to your mind during the meeting, write them down so that you don't forget them, and we'll get to those at the end of the main presentation. Unless the main speaker wants to be interrupted, sometimes that is a meeting style that is desired. But for most of the time, it is quite a good flow to just let the main presentation happen, no interruptions. That also keeps the speaker on target. We have also found that, oh, by the way, some meeting softwares will let you put the questions, basically the attendees can put the questions in a Q&A section, and then everyone can look at those and has the ability to upvote the questions so that you can see what are the questions that most people are interested in. Now, the very, very important, you as the organizer of your online meeting, one of the most important aspects of organizing a meeting is for you also, of course, to provide value to your members, but also to recruit and to grow. So the call to action to make sure that your contact information is from the meeting attendees is shared with you, that is very important. If you have a registration form or panel portal, you will have the email addresses, but maybe you have a form of online meeting where there's just a link that is shared and you don't necessarily have the name and the email of the attendee. That is the minimum of information you should have. Why? Well, so you can re-invite people to future meetings, right? And you can keep growing your movement. That is a very important part. Definitely also see if you can ask for feedback. How was the meeting perceived? What could have been done better? What are improvement suggestions? And also, what was really great is very important. So those are the things that come to my mind that are important in organizing online meetings. There's, of course, a lot more to it, and I would ask you to go to shanks.club. Just go open your browser and visit shanks.club, and there is a way where you can access a membership site where I regularly post my ideas about online visibility and just about public relations and marketing and business in general. There is a coupon code LIVE, LIVE, that you can use that gives you $20 off of that membership fee. So yeah, definitely let me know if you have any further questions. You can put them in the comments and I'll come back to it after the live. It's definitely been great that I was able to share this with you. Again, online meetings, super powerful to power your communities and to grow your movement and to also fuel your business and association. All right, that takes me to the end, and I will say that this is part of the Shanks Show, and I run a marketing agency here in San Antonio. I'm very, very interested in being online, having strong online visibility, and in teaching that to anyone who is interested. Andrea and we will definitely keep creating content for you every day. So if you have questions or ideas, things you want us to address, let us know. And that is it for now. Thanks for attending. Have a great, great rest of your day. And we'll see you very, very soon again here on this platform. Bye-bye for now.